believe that when this happens, Seventh-day Adventists are going to have to take a stand for the seventh-day Sabbath and be prepared to die for such. So, my
Right.
question for you, are Christian nationalists like yourself seeking to pass a national Sunday law that will eventually lead to persecution coming for those who want to observe Saturday as the Sabbath?
Okay, friends, in today's video, I got inserting Adventism on my channel again. Uh, just simply inserting a claim in a video that he made, Christian nationalists coming for Adventist. Um, I'm going to insert to this video here and I'm going to share a few things that I think they do not see. I think inserting Adventism knows what he's doing very much. I'm not sure if Mr. Douglas, which actually I'm subscribed to this man's channel, very balanced and intelligent man. I mean, is a really good minister. He's also a Christian nationalist. I agree with a lot of the things that this man promotes, but there are some things that I think is also very problematic. By the way, he made a video about me, and I think I'm always excited about people making videos about me. I think that promotes my channel at the same time, and the fact you take the time to look for my content and answer to it is a blessing. So I'm making sure I'm notified when this comes out. And the title of this video, Ken Hurst SDA pathetic respond to answering Adventism reaction. I love it. So I can't wait to see what he has to say, because I did say a few things about him and some of the claims that he made, and I saw so many flaws in those claims, and I've also addressed the attitude behind the message. So I'm pretty sure he's got a lot to say about that. So it's really exciting. That's good to know that the Kinhurst Church is getting attention online and people are liking and disliking certain things, and that's all part of the discussion. I love it. Any form of internet intention, from my perspective, is a good one, as long as the people who are listening are coming closer to the truth and that Jesus gets the glory. So let's take a listen to the video that they are arguing here, and after they're done, I'm gonna answer a few things that I think they got completely backward. But for the most part, actually, it's a very nice discussion and very respectable as well. So let's take a listen.
Now, Ellen White, the SDA
Yeah.
Church's prophetess, she had this to say about the future, which is why SDAs are anticipating these things. And this is only a fraction of her claims. But notice what she says. Laws enforcing the observance of Sunday as the Sabbath will bring about a national apostasy from the principles of republicanism upon which the government has been founded. The religion of the papacy will be accepted by the rulers, and the law of God will be made void. Close quote. And this will eventually lead to this. The whole world is to be stirred with enmity against Seventh-day Adventists because they will not yield homage to the papacy by honoring Sunday, the institution of this anti-Christian power. Close quote. This national Sunday law will start in America and eventually become global. And they
Right.
believe that when this happens, Seventh-day Adventists are going to have to take a stand for the seventh-day Sabbath and be prepared to die for such. So my
Right.
question for you, are Christian nationalists like yourself seeking to pass a national Sunday law that will eventually lead to persecution coming for those who want to observe Saturday as the Sabbath?
No, I've never heard anybody proposing that or talking about it or wishing that they could. I do believe that the Sabbath is going to be part of a reformation of our morals. I don't believe the fourth commandment has been retired in any way. So if there is a national reformation and revival, I believe that that will result in a national honoring of the Lord's Day. I do believe that that's going to happen. But I'm a federalist. I don't think the mechanism for it ought to be the federal government. I believe that Sabbath laws, or what they used to be called blue laws, should be a municipal, local, county sort of thing, not national at all. Okay, and and I also believe that from the founding of our country down to the time when I was a young man, I was in the Navy when Virginia um, uh, jettisoned her blue laws, her Sunday laws. And so, for virtually the entire history of the United States, we had legal protection for the Lord's Day, and it didn't lead to this persecution or genocide of Seventh Day Adventists. I have no problems affirming that the rights of uh, the liberty of conscience of Seventh Day Adventists ought to be respected and honored. They they uh, this is the extent of the persecution that I'd be willing to um, deploy against a Seventh-day Adventist, he would not be able to go into a shop and buy a shovel. That's how. That's the extent of the
Right, right.
That would be
Well,
the
it's funny.
extent of the persecution.
Well, it's funny because they love to point to the blue laws. They love to point to 1888 and these sorts of times in American history to try and say that that was kind of a precursor for what's coming.
At the end of the 19th century, actually from a little beyond the middle to the end of the 19th century, there was a national reform movement to establish a national Sunday law. And many people were persecuted in certain states because they did not respect Sunday as a day of worship.
But I think when you dig into those sorts of things, kind of like you said, it's really, it doesn't fit the bill at all for what they're saying is coming. So there's kind of a big jump that has to happen between that to what they're actually saying.
All right. I mean, that's a good response to that, I think. And I think Mr. Douglas was very balanced in his answer as well. By the way, really nice guy. Here is the thing that I think they completely missed, right? First of all, in many Christian nationalists, and I've argued this before on my channel, are not bad people. Many Christians or nationalists are not trying to rewrite the Constitution or trying to install persecutions. There is almost an outrage from the left that everything that is in Christian nationalism is anti-human, anti-democratic, and so on. And I will say that's actually not true. I've actually spoken to a number of them. Some of them are my friends, and they do not think exactly like that. And I think what you just heard here from Mr. Douglas is actually a very balanced response of what many Christian nationalists do think. And I think if you make Sunday law a matter of just Christian nationalists, I think you're missing the mark, because many of these people who are Christian nationalists are not bad people. They really wants to make the country a better place. They really believe that things are not good in this country, and they are really trying to solve and address the woke ideology. They're trying to address, they're trying to stand for religious constitution and everything, religious freedom, and they want to uphold the Constitution of the United States. They don't believe it's all a bad thing, having the law of God in school, teaching children principles of the gospel and so on. These are not things the Seventh-day Adventists should be against. These are things that we actually, I'm all for. I agree with. I think they are good. When is this gonna go too far? First of all, the National Sunday Law is bigger than Christian nationalists. Christian nationalists themselves may have good intent. That doesn't necessarily mean they understand the nature of what they are doing and promoting. They're laying the foundation, but they are not in and of themselves the one who is going to make it happen. Let me explain to you what I mean by that. There's a lot of other things in prophecy that I think they're not seeing. Number one is the idea that, let me go here to better understand what's gonna happen. I did a sermon recently. I mean, yeah, there we go. It's called The Swelling of the Jordan. So I'm gonna put it on my screen here. There it is right there. You need to go watch this. The Swelling of the Jordan. It's on my YouTube channel. It's on the church YouTube channel. It's called How. It says this. Watch how the swelling of the Jordan parallels with the mark of the beast crisis. So it's a 53-minute sermons, and I will encourage you to go through the whole thing, because I've marched through it step by step, till I get to the point where I show you how this thing is going to swell up. It doesn't happen just like that. And like Miles says here, and he is correct, it's a massive leap. It's not gonna jump up. We're not gonna go from just religious freedom to National Sunday Law. That's not how the devil works. It never works that way. Okay.
Of worship.
But I think when you dig into those sorts of things, kind of like you said, it's really, it doesn't fit the bill at all for what they're saying is coming. So there's kind of a big jump that has to happen.
Exactly. There has to be a big jump. And I think if you look at what happened during Pestilence 19 pandemic, what happened during that, we saw a big jump. We went from almost like everything is okay, this virus came out of nowhere, and then like the unvaccinated are evil, unless you take this thing you apart, you know what I'm saying? It's almost like, and you saw this divisiveness happen in the world, and certain mandates and laws were put in place. It happens overnight. For example, when the Twin Towers fell, for example, the laws changed overnight. It was more like, yeah, this happened, now we have an enemy, now we got a reason to go to war, and then the laws fails, and then all of a sudden we have we have our privacy being invaded, right? And then Edward Snowden had to come into the picture and begin to expose what was going on within the government. How did that happen? Well, it took a crisis, right? So I'm going to come back and explain what I mean by that. So number one, to better understand how this is going to happen, I will say you don't want to rely on answering Adventism, who is a critic of the Seventh-day Adventist Church, who is not trying to get to the truth, who seems to be promoting his ideas, and there's a lot of unbelief. Is everything is anti Seventh-day Adventist. So I don't think this is the place where you want to get your truth when it comes to that. I would say it's best to go to history. It's best to go to the Bible. And if you stick to the Bible instead of the YouTube scholars, you will escape a lot of deception. Number one, Ecclesiastes chapter 1, verse 9 tells us that the things that have been, it is that which shall be. And that which is done, it is that which shall be done. And there is no new thing under the sun. And the idea is that history repeats itself. The things that has happened in the past are going to happen again. Number two, Ecclesiastes tells us 3 verses 14 and 15 say, I know that whatsoever God doeth, it shall be done forever. Nothing can be put to it, or no anything taken from it. And God doeth it, and that men should fear before him. For that which has been is now, and that which is to be has already been. Here's the next few words. God requireth that which is past. And the idea is God demands that we study the past. God requires that we spend time looking into history to understand the future. The best way to understand where we are going is to look at where we have been. The best way to understand what's in the future is by taking a look at the review mirror of the past. So this is why Mark Twain will say history doesn't repeat itself, but it often rhymes. So what we're going to see is that the same thing that had happened in the past are going to emerge again in different forms. And the thing about typology, it's never meant to be identical. It's only similar. So we're going to see things that has happened in the history of our world. They are going to happen again, but it's going to happen with a different front, with a different ideology. There are going to be different reasons behind it. But nevertheless, history is still rhyming. But the danger is this, and I think a lot of the people who are criticizing this idea that there will be a national Sunday law, this is what they fail to understand. The only thing we learn from history is that we live and learn from history. We don't look at history correctly. And oftentimes when people are talking about this, they don't take a good enough look at history. And the message that Stephen Boyer was talking about is actually correct. I have a book where there's been documented of some of the atrocities that happened. Nobody had actually died from what I've studied, but some people were persecuted to the point where they had their hands crushed and stuff like that when they were doing certain things on Sunday. There was a degree of persecution for these people. So that had happened in 1888. Now it wasn't massive persecution because I think the Lord intervened with Alonzo T. Jones and many others who actually rose a voice of protest against this. The Sunday Blair Bill in Massachusetts, in Boston, Massachusetts. So there's a whole history behind that, and that's a whole other discussion as well. And I think we can come to talk about this in the future. But that's just a little segment of history because it goes farther than that. And I think if you're looking for the Sunday movement, you gotta go a little bit deeper. Here is the thing I wanted to share. Here's the thing. I had spoken about this in the light of my study that has to do with the swelling of the Jordan. And I say the swelling of the Jordan, there are certain things that's going to happen from a futuristic standpoint, the events that we can actually look for to determine how this thing is going to blow up. Number one is that the morals are going to keep going down. It's happening as we speak. So they're going to continue to go down. And if you're not paying attention, the morals of our society are really bad. And I think that this is why Christian nationalists, and I agree with them when it comes to this, they want to do something about the morals of our society. And actually, I want to be part of a movement that will help saving the morals of our society. I think we should stymie the problem. I think we should slow it down. Doesn't necessarily mean we should sit back and say, well, prophecy is going to be fulfilled. It is what it is. Let's just let it burn. I don't agree with that. I think we should actually fight for the Constitution. We should fight for American values. We should fight for to protect our children. We should fight against the woke ideology. We should fight against anything that is tearing apart human dignity in this country. I'm all for it. And around the world, I'm all for it. But how far are you willing to go with this? So what first thing we see is that the morals of our society are going down. And the second thing is the calamities are going to increase, right? You're hearing the climate change call. It's happening as we speak. And that is going to continue to turn up. Even the ladies on The View just made some ridiculous remark where they were saying that I'm gonna put a video on the screen after I say this. They were saying that the climate change, what happened with the solar eclipse had something to do with climate change. I mean, it was so bad that even her host had to correct Sunny hosting on this. And again, that's just a little side note. But the point of the matter is, you can expect the calamities to increase. Actually, when you go to Matthew 24, what you're seeing is a consistent increasing of calamities, like there shall be wars and rumors of wars, nations against nations, kingdoms against famines, and pestilences, and earthquakes in diverse places. All these are the beginning of sorrow. So in other words, they're going to increase in frequency and intensity. And they're going to keep calling climate change as a mean to bring about the change in society. And there's also economic instability. We're going to see that the national debt is going to keep getting worse. We're going to see that the money are going to keep losing its value. Inflation is going to keep on rising. And as we have seen in just about in just the last 2 years during the Biden administration, even before, it seems like every president who comes into office, they just keep raising the national debt. And what's happening as a result, inflation keeps on rising and rising. And the gas prices is horrendous today than what it used to be. I would say 3 years ago, it was like $1 something. Now it's like 3 something. That's all part of the thing. We're looking at economic stability. And I've also spoken about how there is a doing away with the middle class happening in this country. The poor are being cared for, right? The illegal migrants are getting their fair share. The rich are getting richer. The poor are getting help from the government, at least at this stage of the world. But also, the middle class are in trouble. The middle class have to pay for healthcare at a much higher price than everybody else. The middle class is dealing with a lot more issues than anybody else, and their jobs are being taken away and so on. There's a lot more being happening as well. So there's so much more to this thing than just what you see. When you get to the nitty-gritty of it, you start looking at the fine details, you can see how it's gonna happen. Next is that what we are also seeing is that temporal prosperity. So that's what I mean by the middle class in itself. That's gonna go down and down, down, down. So we're gonna end up with the rich and the poor, just like the Bible says in Revelation chapter 13, that it shall give power to the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause, has not many, has will not worship the image of the beast should be killed. He causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and slave, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their forehead, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that have the mark of the beast, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Rich and poor, free and slave, right? All of them will be impacted by this National Sunday Law, which is the mark of the beast when it is enforced. I want to be exact about that. So here's the thing. So what will be the result? There's going to be national chaos. We should expect more of that to be coming your way. And after this, there's going to be a solution that's going to be presented. And that solution will be a National Sunday Law. So this is like a general picture of prophecy from my perspective of what is going to happen from my study of this thing. So what else is missing here from the discussion that I think these men did not actually understand? There's a video out there that I put out. Again, check it out. It's called the Sunday Movement. Look it up. It's on my YouTube channel. I could put a link in the description below if you want me to. It's called the Sunday Movement. It's making its way in darkness. Beware. And check it out, because what I did, I went through some videos, I went through some clips, I went through some quotations, statements, and so on from different people that are already saying this, and they are slowly turning up the heat. They're not saying exactly for a Sunday law. They're not saying that, but they are laying reasons for it. They're giving you some of the reasons why there needs to be such a thing. And that's what I spoke about in this video. I'm going to leave a link in the description below. At the end of this video as well, you can come and check it out. But here is the thing that I think Adventism did not tell you, and I didn't expect him to tell you. Here is the thing that you can look for. It's called the Sunday Movement is now making its way in darkness. This stuff is not in the forefront of the discussion, is not in the political realm. You have to go beneath to find out what's happening here. Only a student of Bible prophecy who knows how to apply the understanding of history and prophetic understanding, They are the only ones who can actually really pinpoint this thing. Some people can do it better than others. I can do some of it. I'm not really, really good at it, but I have some abilities to actually find where it is actually happening. It's happening through the veins of our society, but it's not really in the forefront. What we are seeing is this: the leaders are concealing the true issue, and many who unite in the movement do not themselves see whether the undercurrent is tending. They are working in blindness. So I don't expect Mr. Douglas to know what he's doing. I don't expect these men to have any bad intent. I don't think they do, because they are working in blindness. They do not see if a Protestant government sacrifices the principles that have made them a free, independent nation, though through legislation, bringing into the Constitution principles that will propagate papal falsehood and papal delusion, they are bringing into the Roman honor of the Dark Ages. They're bringing into what? The Roman horrors of the Dark Ages, I should say. I'm slow today. I worked last night. I can't even read right now. Anyway, so what you are seeing is that slowly the Protestant world in these United States are adapting Roman Catholic principles, and they will eventually push that forward little by little. And if you haven't been paying attention, there's a lot of that already being, the foundation at least is being laid. Here is the other thing that you need to also understand. Now, when Seventh-day Adventists say stuff like this, they're going to call us name at this time. But remember, we have to keep on preaching and keep on talking, because today we are the naysayers, we are the evildoers, we are the alarmists. But that's gonna change. Let me explain to you how this is going to change. Here, there too, those who present the truth of the third angel's message have been regarded as mere alarmists. This is what we are called right now. Oh, you guys ain't saying nothing. You guys are trying to scare people. This could never happen in these United States, right? Okay, let's keep going. There are predictions that religious intolerance will gain control in the United States, that church and state will unite to persecute those who keep the commandments of God, has been pronounced as groundless and absurd. And guess what? If you say Ellen White is not inspired, why is she fulfilling the very words of this man and these men? We could never do something like that, right? Now, the truth is, Mr. Douglas made reference to Sunday as a national revival for moral of our society.
They could. I do believe that the Sabbath is going to be part of a reformation of our morals. I don't believe the fourth commandment has been retired.
He calls it the Lord's Day, which he got the wrong day. He did actually admit that is something we don't think we should get rid of. So even in his thinking, there is a segment of that in his thinking that we kind of need a Sunday law, but I don't think we should have it on a national basis. Well, you might be thinking that, but prophecy says that's exactly what's going to happen. We are saying this. It has been confidently declared that this land could never become other than what he has been, the defenders of religious freedom, right? There's no way the United States will ever do something like that. Okay. And as the question of enforcing Sunday is widely agitated. So what we're about to see in the next scope in the prophecy, right? We're going to see a more of a questioning for a Sunday law. The heat is going to be turned up little by little. But there has to be enough reasons for such a heat to be turned up. So in other words, the issues, the morals, and the calamities, the troubles of our society, they have to increase. And as they increase, then a call to bring about, to restore national morality in our society, a call to preserve and save the country is going to be turned up. It says that the event so long doubted and disbelief is seen to be approaching, and the third angel's message will produce an effect that it could not have had before. Oh, mere alarmist. But as the heat is turning up, as the calamities are increasing, and that's what he says, there's going to be a massive leap. There's going to be a massive jump. Yes, there will be. But the events are going to prepare the way for that. And I can tell you this, it doesn't take much to have a massive jump in a drastic increase in society. It doesn't take much. Watch this. And I think COVID-19 should have taught us something. Here's the thing. There are many, even of these engaged in the movement for the Sunday enforcement, who are blinded to the result which will follow this action. They don't realize what they're about to do. We are told they do not see that they are striking directly against religious liberty. There are many who have never understood the claims of the Bible Sabbath and the false foundation upon which the Sunday institution rests. And I'm so glad we have the spirit of prophecy. Amen. I'm so glad the Lord gave us a prophet. Not only he gave us his word, but the prophet made it clear. Without the spirit of prophecy, I don't know how I would have ever been able to discern these things from the word of God. Again, they got the false claims. They don't know what they're saying, right? Those who are making an effort to change the Constitution and secure a law enforcing Sunday observance little realize what will be the result. So when Mr. Here he is, Answering Adventism, when Mr. Miles goes and asks a Christian nationalist who has all good intent, who might not know what's going on, and very smart man, by the way. I'm not in any way speaking negatively about this man. I've actually listened to some of his podcasts. He's on point. He's so good. However, let's be apart from that. There's a lot of things to talk about. So when you go and ask this man this question, what kind of answers do you expect to get?
So my question for you, are Christian nationalists like yourself seeking to pass a national Sunday law that will eventually lead to persecution coming for those who want to observe Saturday as the Sabbath?
That answer will always be no. They will never say yes. Why will they say yes, Mr. James? Because they are blind to the results which will follow this action. They don't realize where this is going. This is why you need a Seventh-day Adventist who has a knowledge of the Bible and the spirit of prophecy and understand how to break down Bible prophecy to explain this to you. You're going to the wrong people, man. You're going to the wrong people. So here's the thing. They do not see that they are striking directly against religious freedom. So this is what we are watching right now. And again, they do not have a correct understanding of the biblical Sabbath, and they have a false understanding of the Sunday, why they keep Sunday as a holy day. Those who are making an effort to change the Constitution and secure a law enforcing Sunday observance will later realize what the result will be. A crisis is just upon us. So, what do you believe? The word of God? The inspiration of spirit of prophecy? Or the critic of Seventh-day Adventists? The critic and doubtful and naysayers, the cynics. Who do you believe? Do you believe Answering Adventism? Or you believe Jesus Christ? It's the question. Who do you believe? Do you believe an honest man like Douglas who doesn't see and understand everything? And I say an honest man because he is actually. I've listened to many of his teachings, and he's on point on many things. Do you believe these men, or do you believe the word of God and the spirit of prophecy? Listen, I have a video coming up, and again, I have a study coming up right now. Stay tuned. Listen, it's Mark of the Beast. I'm not rushing this thing because I'm going so deep. and I want to make sure what I present is solid. And I'm going through 4 different levels of history: biblical persecution, historical persecution, current persecution, and pending persecution. That's just what I call it. And I'm going to prove those things to you one step after another. And again, look out for that. The Mark of the Beast, Part 2. Oh yeah, it's coming, baby. It's coming. I'm not rushing it because I'm studying as I go. And I'm looking at a lot of articles. I'm looking at videos. I'm looking at a number of things. When I present my stuff, I don't want anybody to argue against what I present. You can say I don't believe it. Well, you cannot say I didn't tell you. And this is why I make sure I take my time when I do my studies. Because I want to shut down the naysayers and give them no reasons to doubt. If they doubt, it's because of their unbelief. It's not because the information wasn't presented correctly. And that's what I'm making sure that I'm doing right now. So look out for that. I think that's coming either tomorrow or Friday. So I'm almost done. So there is something in prophecy, and we're going to talk about this in my study as well. It's called the Black Swan event. The Black Swan, I've actually heard this for the first time from Klaus Schwab.
Definitively, we'll have to face other surprises, black swans, as they are called, maybe different kinds of viruses.
And also there's Andrew Enriquez spoke about this in his channel.
Sudden thing is going to happen. I believe in that theory of the black swan.
Yes.
It's going to pop up, and it's not going to be controllable.
Is going to what? Black swan pop-up surprise. And notice what this goes on to say. Here is one my conservative base is really going to like. A constitutional amendment requiring folks to attend church on what? And we know that is the mark of the beast.
And actually, I've listened to both of them, and I'm like, yeah, I see exactly what this is saying. The fact Klaus Schwab was promoting this thing, and when you study prophecy, you can see how this is going to happen. So most people are saying a Sunday law cannot happen. It's a massive leap. This could never take place. Well, you need to understand what is called a black swan. What is a black swan? An unpredictable event that is beyond what is normally expected of a situation that has potentially severe consequences. I can even say unpredictable today. An unpredictable event. Okay, there we go. So what's going to happen with the Black Swan event? It is an event that takes place in such an unimaginable way that it changes the scope of our society. It changes all our expectation and everything. It says furthermore about that, this so-called Black Swan events highly unlikely to happen, and that will have severe consequences as they did. So it's pretty much everything is going just fine today, and then that event happened, that cataclysmic event. It could be something in the climate. It could be something in society. It could be a civil war. It could be, who knows? It could be one of those climate change issues. Or there is another thing they're talking about now, which I will share with you on my presentation. They're talking about a cyber attack. So there's all these different things people are talking about, and they're talking about some type of homegrown, how do I say this? Homegrown domestic, some type of terror within the United States with the open border policies that we have. It's highly possible something drastic will take place just like that. So I will be sharing some videos to you and with you about some things that people are saying and things we can look out for. But a Black Swan event has to happen. In other words, something so massive has to take place that will change the landscape of the discussion from just political to social into a religious discussion where there is going to be a call to go back and honor the Lord of the Sabbath day. And again, if you look at the Bible too, and again, in my future study, if you look at the Bible too, every time there was a persecution of God's people, there was always a law against God's law. It's always come about from a national as well as a religious institution where the law of God was also violated, and the people of God had to resist it. And as a result of being resisted, they were persecuted. And once they were resisted, God himself was vindicated and he intervened on behalf of his people. There's like this amazing pattern. I'm going to show you that in my study as well. And then that pattern happens in history, is going to happen in the future again. So I wanted to make this video to answer to some of these claims, and I know this is longer than I want it to be, but I've said it before. If you want to understand Bible prophecy, you don't want to go to a critic of a Seventh-day Adventist church who actually left the faith, who is speaking against the faith. That's probably not where you want to get your truth. You want to go where the source is. Go to the Bible, go to the spirit of prophecy. And I would say Stephen Bower is a great teacher. People who may think he's not, I think he is. I have a lot of his study notes, and this man knows what he's talking about. He's really deep. He did his homework, and I will encourage you to listen to this man. And but again, no condemnation on any of these men. I think Answering Adventism knows what he's talking about. He's somewhat dishonest. I think this man is a very honest man, but is a little bit misled. Okay, so that's what's going on here. Anyway, these are my thought and perspectives. Share your thought and perspective with me. Let me know what you think about this video. Like and subscribe to the page. Click the bell icon for more. Until next time, have a good one. Bye.